Hi students, today we are discussing the topic design in Lexi user interface. The next design problem, that is user operations. What is the main purpose of user operations? In the sense, users need to control Lexi through various user interfaces, including buttons and pull down menus. So behind these interfaces, the functionality is scattered throughout the objects. The functionality is scattered throughout the objects in the particular application. So the challenge here is to provide a uniform mechanism both for accessing this scattered functionality and for undoing its effects. So now we are studying what are the main requirements we need to support user operations. In the sense, Lexi's functionality is available through the documents. What you see is what you get a representation. So if you take one document, you want to enter and delete text, if you need to move the insertion a point and select ranges of text by pointing and clicking and typing directly in the document. So the other functionality here is we want to access indirectly through user operations in Lexi's pull down menus and buttons and keyboard accelerations. So the functionality here, the functionality of user operations includes here, first of all, you need to creating a new document, and we are opening and saving and printing an already existing document, and then we are cutting a selected text out of the document and pasting it back in, and we are changing the font and style of selected text around the text editing area. If you want to changing the font and style of a particular selected text, and then we are changing the formatting of text in that particular layout, we want to such as it's like alignments and a justification, and then finally if you have to quitting the particular application and so on. What here Lexi provides to you? Lexi provides the different user interfaces for the operations whatever it need to supported. These operations are very implemented in many different classes. So Lexi supports undo and redo operations. Finally, the challenge is to come up with a simple and extensible mechanism that satisfies these conditions. All of we need to support these challenges. It's a very simple and extensible mechanism. So these user operations are implemented in many different classes. Okay, Lexi, we need to support undo and redo of most but not all its functionality. Especially we want to be able to undo document modifying operation like delete, with which a user can destroy lots of data, but we should not try to undo an operation like saving a drawing or quitting the particular application. So these operations should have no effect on the undo process. We also don't want to bother about and limited on the number of levels of undo and redo a mechanism. So for the purpose of user operations, it permits the particular application. Okay, next we are studying about in this concept user operations continuation, and the subtopic is encapsulating a request. Encapsulating a request in the sense, we could parameterize menu item with a function to call, but that's not a complete solution. In the sense, from our perspective as a designer, a pull down menu is just another kind of a glyph. It contains other glyphs. So let's us assume that these work performing glyphs or instances of a glyph subclasses called menu item, and that they do their work in response to a request from a client. So we are carrying on the request. It might involve an operation on one object or many operations on many objects or something in between. Okay, it does not address the undo or redo problems, and it's very hard to associate a state with a function. For example, a function that changes the font needs to know which font. Okay, and coming to the third point, functions are very hard to extend, and it's hard to reuse the part of the to reuse the part of them of its document particularly. These reasons suggest that we should parameterize menu items with an object, not a function. Then we can use inheritance to extend and reuse the request implementation here. Okay, in the next sub concept is command class and subclasses. Here the command abstract class consists of a single abstract operation called execute. Okay, what we meant to say here, first we define a command abstract class to provide an interface for issuing a request. Okay, for issuing a request, the basic interface consists of a single abstract operation, call it as execute. Okay, here we seen some subclasses of command implementation execute in different ways. We need to fulfill our different request. Okay, here a menu item can store a command object that encapsulates a request. We should take some menu item. It can store a command object that will be encapsulated to a request. Whenever a user chooses a particular menu item, the menu item simply calls execute on its command object. We want to carry out the request. Okay, look at this diagram. What this diagram says to you, in the sense, these are some subclasses of command implement execute in different ways. We need to fulfill the different request. Here some subclasses may delegate the part or all of the work to other objects. Here look at this diagram. This figure shows to you other subclasses may also be in a position to fulfill the request entirely on their own task. So, to the requester, however, a command object is a command object, they are treated uniformly. Okay, here we have to look at this diagram. Now we look at this command object. In this we have some execute a function. Okay, a command abstract class to provide an interface for issuing a request. The basic interface consists of a single abstract operation called execute. Here we need to extend some commands like paste command, font command, save command, quit command. Okay, we are intended to access this execute function. It will returns a paste buffer into a document. Buffer in the sense temporary storage area. Okay, we need to a temporary storage area. Execute a function. We need to store a temporary storage area. We have to return the font command to make selected some text appear in new font. It will be returned. In coming to the save command, to return pop up a dialog box that lets the username and document and then save the document under that particular name. Now we can look at this quit command. If execute returns, the execute returns, if document is modified, then if we have to save execute function, then if we have to quit the application. This is nothing but this is a class hierarchy of a partial command. How the class hierarchy will be. Okay, next we define menu item a command relationship. Okay, now look at this menu item can store a command object, okay, that encapsulates a request as shown in the figure. We give each menu item object an instance of the command a subclass that is suitable for that menu item, just as we specify the text whatever we have to appear in the menu item. Okay, when a user choose a particular menu item, the menu item simply calls execute on its command object. Okay, execute on its command object to carry out the particular request. Note that button and other widgets can use here commands in the same way menu item do like this. Okay, this is the figure representation of menu item, a command relationship, how we want to interact the menu item. Okay, menu item command relationship. In this concept, the user operations continuation undoability. What is the meaning of the undoability? In the sense, to undo and redo commands, we add an unexecute operation to a commands interface. Next, a concrete command would store the state of the command for an execute operation, and then we need to support reversible operation. It returns a boolean value. How to determine if a command is undoable? What this concept in the sense, undo or redo is an important capability in interactive applications. To undo and redo commands, we want to add an unexecute operation to commands interface, and then it will be unexecute reverse the effect of a preceding execute operation. We are using whatever undo information execute, it will store in the case of a font command. For example, the execute operation would store the range of text affected by the font change along with the original font. So the font commands unexecute operation would restore whatever the range of text to its original font size. Okay, this is the concept of undoability. So we have to determine if a command is undoable. We want to add an abstract reversible operation to the command interface. Okay, here reversible returns a boolean value. So here subclasses can redefine this operation. We want to return a true or false based on the runtime criteria. Especially based on the runtime criteria, we can redefine this operation. We want to return true or false. Here we need to study about a command history. In the sense, this is the final step in supporting arbitrary level of undo and redo is to define a command history. In the sense, a list of commands that have been executed. Okay, here look at this, how we can implementing a command history. In the sense, here you have seen some 4 circles. This is last one. If you have to given some line that is present, these are the past commands we have to be done there. The command history can be seen as a list of past commands. As new commands are executed, new commands are already executed, they are added to the front of the particular history. Now we are looking at the undoing the last command. What I meant to say now here, undoing the last command. Here listen, each circle represents a command object. In this case, the user has issued 4 commands. The leftmost command was issued first, followed by the second leftmost, and so on, until the most recently issued command, which is rightmost. The line marked present, it will keeps track of the most recently executed, and we can say unexecuted command. Listen carefully. We want to undo the last command. We simply call unexecute on the most recent commands. Okay, and then to undo a command, an execute function is called on the command on the front of the list, so the present position is moved past the last command. Okay, now we are studying about undoing the previous command. Here listen carefully. Previous command, after unexecuting the command, we move the present line one command to the left. So, if the user chooses undo again, the next most recently issued command, it will be undone. It will be undone in the same way, and we are left in the state depicted here. Look at this. This is the past. This is the future. Okay. Present here, look at this. You can see that by simply repeating this procedure, we get a multiple levels of undo. So the number of levels is limited here only by the length of the command history. Only by the length of the command history. What here represent to undo the previous command, an execute function is called on the next command in the history. So the present pointer is moved to point before that command. And coming to the redoing the next command, redoing once again, if you have to doing the next command, listen carefully. To redo a command that's just been undone, we do the same thing in reverse. We do the same thing in reverse operation. Commands to the right of the present line or commands that may be redone in the future. So to redo the last undone command, we call execute on the command to the right of the present line. Okay, understand? To redo the command that was just undo, comma, and execute function is called on that a particular command. So the present pointer is moved up past that command. Then we advance here. Then we advance the present line so that a subsequent redo will call redo on the following commands in the future. Here in this concept, in order to manage the user operations, we need to design a pattern called here a command pattern. What is the main intent of command pattern? It prescribes what it prescribes. Which describes how to encapsulate a request as an object. So, the command pattern here prescribes a uniform interface for issuing a request that lets you configure a client's how we can handle a different request, okay, from that particular receiver. Okay, here in this concept, in order to manage user operations, we need to design a pattern called a command pattern. Here, Lexi's commands are an application of the command pattern. Lexi is the name of the application. The commands are an application of the command pattern, which we need to describe how to encapsulate a request as an object. So the command pattern lets you parameterize clients with different request. Okay, so a queue or long request, we need to support to design a Lexi for the concept of undoable operations. Okay, also known as, we have to be studied out like a command pattern action, or we can say one more name, and you can say transaction. The main intent of what does the pattern do in the sense, a start statement that tells you the command pattern prescribes a uniform interface for issuing a request that lets you configure a clients to handle a different request. So the interface clients from the request implementation, a command pattern may delegate all part of the request implementation to other objects. So this is a perfect for the particular application like Lexi user interface design, that must you have to be provided, it is a centralized access to the particular functionality whatever you need to scattered throughout the particular application. So this pattern discusses to you undo and redo process. It built on the basic command interface. So we need to study about the command pattern. It prescribes a uniform interface. Whatever the request, we need to suppose to configure the clients to handle the different request. We need to support undoable operations. Okay, this is the concept of user operations. It is one of the design problem in Lexi user interface. Okay, and next class we seen spelling checking and hyphenation. How does the main motto and in depth concept we can study about that. Okay, up to now, thank you, ma.